There we go.
Oh. All right. Thank you. Welcome to S.U.N, Sustainable Urban Network. You could be anywhere, and we appreciate you joining us today. We have an excellent show. We're talking Hip Hop 5K. So we're mixing both our social justice, our health justice, and sprinkling that hip hop on top of it with our guests today. Now, like I always do, I want to welcome you all for joining us on Sustainable Urban Network. And for those that may be tuning in for the first time, you may want to know, what is Sustainable Urban Network? We address racial, social, economic justice, and equity through the lens of environmental and climate justice. We believe that with a collective community that we can make improvements, provide information in order for us to make a positive impact to our community, and we can scale up our neighborhood. Now, before we get started on today's show, our guests, out of respect of those that have lost their lives to the senseless gun terror in our country, we want to give a moment of silence. Thank you. And out of respect, we also want to acknowledge a lot of heroes and major pillars that the San Diego community have also lost. And I want to just remind our community, the giants, unfortunately, that have passed away. And that is Dr. Willie Morrow, who was a hair care genius who created the California curl to allow African Americans and Blacks to wear their hair in different styles than before. And he was laid to rest. He was also the first Black millionaire, I believe, in San Diego. And he was laid to rest a few weeks ago in July. And we also want to recognize Tambuzi Cunningham. And he also was a major pillar in our community. Now, as we level set our show today, we want to jump into our sun enlightenments. And our sun enlightenments are something inspired by a modern thought teacher, Don Miguel Ruiz. And our sun enlightenments are as such: one, be responsible with your resources. Two, take the state of our social and climate justice seriously. Three, don't wait for others, do your part. And four, when you do, give your best effort and from a loving place. Now, as we get started, we also want to level this with our reflection. And our reflection today will be a quote by Evelyn Ashford. And that quote is, "When I'm running fast, I don't feel anything. It's effortless. It feels like my feet don't even touch the ground. It's like I'm flying." And she was an Olympian that I looked up to as a young girl. I also ran track, never collegiate, just up to high school. Now, what's happening and what is going on? So, the heat is definitely on. And I want to bring some tips about the heat. But before I talk about that, I also want to give props to Dr. Lawana Richmond. She combined the Comic Con that we just had in San Diego with Afrofuturism Lounge and AfroCon. It was an amazing layout that she does every year. Look forward to the Afrofuturistic Lounge with Comic Con next year. You will not be disappointed. Now, as I mentioned before, the heat is on. there are extreme heat temperatures all throughout our country. And it's really important that our communities are able to get some heat relief. There are extreme heat vulnerabilities, especially for a lot of low income Black and Brown communities because of a lack of tree canopies, which are trees in our neighborhoods. So, and a lot of them also may not have air conditioning, or if you do have air conditioning, now you're running your bill up. So I also want to provide some cooling centers here throughout San Diego County is at our public libraries. Those are official cooling centers. So if you need to cool off during the day, definitely take the cooling centers as a consideration. I will also encourage you all to make sure that you drink your water and you dress light. You know, you may want to pack an umbrella if you're walking in order to keep cool. Also want to mention that solar media coverage. We recently had a solar rally to don't tax the sun, and that's a way for us to keep our electricity bills down. So big props to Don't Tax the Sun rally also. And I want to give props to our former board of supervisor, Leon Williams. He is turning 100 years old, or he turned 100 years old, and is receiving a San Diego's County Lifetime Achievement Award and ceremony, and that took place on July 30th at 3 p.m. And another tip I want to provide is we're having a men's forum, a men's health forum called We Need to Talk. And that will be occurring on Saturday, September 24th at 9:30 a.m. at Bayview Baptist Church. And our Dr. Follow and Wendy Sherald, they also provided a community health fair, which is the first Wednesday of every month. And on this week, they had it on Wednesday at the Jackie Robinson YMCA. Now, before I introduce my guest, I got to give out a big, huge props to our Sunshine Award. So who is shining is Sandra Douglas Morgan. Who is that? It is Los Angeles Raiders' first Black new president of the NFL for the Las Vegas Raiders. She is making history, and so I got to give her props. And yes, I am silver and black all day for life. So now we have our guest, and before I introduce our guest, I'm going to just kind of set the stage with our theme song with our guests, and then we'll jump into who they are in a discussion of why we're here. And yeah, and we'll go from there.
We can't hear it, Ma.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing.
One of my favorite 90s jams.
Right. Okay,
Naughty
so
Bunny.
now, oh my gosh, I wish my son was here. So did you guys hear it, or was it just me?
No.
Okay, I'm going to try it again. I apologize, y'all. I told you that I appreciate him way more now than I appreciate the work he's been doing with son. Okay, so let me try this again. Okay, so here we go. I live in top of hip hop. This is hip hop of today. I give props to hip hop, so hip hop hooray! Ho, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey, ho, hip hop hooray! Ho, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce our guest. Once I get the song off, oh my goodness. It's a little bit more complicated for one person to do than I give credit. So shout out to my creative director, Elijah. He's also a hip hop artist. So who do we have in the house? We have my girl. She is definitely heavy in our community, and that's Miss Deborah Porte. She is the president and director of Hip Hop 5K. Oh no, it's San Diego Hip Hop 5K. Apologize for that. And we have the original founders. We have Dawood and Terrell Rackley and Dawood Hassan.
Terrell.
Did I not say Terrell? I messed
Hey,
up again. I did it
that's
I
again.
got another name for you, bro.
right,
Terrell.
What did I
right. There you
say?
go.
What did I say, Terrell? What did I say?
Yeah,
You could edit
if,
it out and
Don't
just start
matter.
all over.
no, I
Should we
mean, it's
stop? Or we gonna keep
no,
going?
Yeah,
this
we can
it's
just
good.
we
Live.
can
This
just
hip hop.
edit it
We
out and just
live.
start all
It's
over.
good. I mean, I'm good with it.
Okay, and I've been knowing Brother Terrell for years. My
Right.
apologies. Well, I
It's
appreciate it,
okay.
Greg. Y'all, I'm a little
Yeah,
nervous now. I told you I had
it's
to
okay.
turn up my AC.
Right.
Yeah, no need to be nervous.
It's
We just having a conversation, brothers and sisters.
yeah,
That's all.
right. That's
That's
it.
all. That's all we're doing. So now that we're having this conversation, what I want to ask is, how did Dawood, if you can explain to us, how did San Diego Hip Hop 5K begin? Because you actually have like a really story behind how it got started, why it got started, with it from your own personal perspective, and how it's been benefiting our community.
Okay. Well, first I'd like to say thank you for having us on your platform. We definitely appreciate your time and your efforts and everything that you're doing. You're doing an amazing job,
Thank
even doing
you.
everything by yourself on this episode. And also, we would like to give a mighty shout out to our ancestors, that just recently passed that you just did. Brother Tambuzi was very instrumental in the beginnings of the Hip Hop 5K. So, we give a shout out to him, and also Brother Willie Morris.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the beginnings of the Hip Hop 5K, not to get too long-winded, I'll kind of just give a kind of like a brief explanation. Around 2012, I started to event produce. I had an event space downtown San Diego. It was a 12th floor patio area where I was able to use for free. I lived there in that building. So I started to do events there, and then it kind of gradually turned into bringing health and wellness into it, where we would like maybe have, like green smoothies or shirts with like positive phrases on it. And from there, I was able to link up with, speaking of Brother Tambuzi, I was able to link up with Miss Diane Moss in 2013 with
Oh,
Project New Village.
yes.
She gave us our first grant, actually. She helped
What
us with our
year
first
was
grant.
that?
2013.
Okay, that was, yeah. So that's roughly 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, she helped facilitate our first grant through the Jacob Center.
Mhm.
And from there, we were able to do the first hip hop health and wellness celebration in the Jacobs Amphitheater. And that's where me and Terrell's story kind of starts to merge. So we physically met there. We had known, obviously coming up in San Diego, we know a whole lot of the same people. So he ended up at the Hip Hop Health and Wellness celebration, and we formed a friendship, and that friendship turned quickly into an alliance because his vision was very similar to my vision as far as blending hip hop and health and wellness
That's
and
what's
the things
up.
that we need in the community. And so from there, I just so happened to be in a conversation with my daughter, who was about 12 at the time, I think. Every time I tell a story, her age changes. I don't
Right,
know.
right.
Yeah, she was something. She was young.
Yeah. I think she was 12 because if I remember correctly, it was 12, 13, somewhere around there. It
Okay.
wasn't definitely. Yeah. It was somewhere
She was
around there.
young. She
Yeah,
was a bit young.
very.
So, so
So she's a young lady now.
she's a young woman now. She's
Or young,
21.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple
So
years
if it
younger
was
than my
10
son.
years, yeah, do the math. Yeah, she was 11.
Okay.
So, okay. So anyway, her and her sister was running the Susan J. Komen 5K at the time.
Mhm.
And so, I was sitting around after the Hip Hop Health and Wellness celebration, and I asked them, what I should do next for the following up event, and she told me I should do a hip hop 5K or a Diamond Mines 5K. I can't remember exactly what she said. But when she said the 5K portion, that really, it put a light bulb off in my head. And I became very much so obsessed with the vision and the idea. And so, me and Terrell just having just many, 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 many conversations about the formation of it and what it would look like. We kind of started to hit the ground, and then that was the end of 2013 going into 2014. And, you know, sitting at my computer one day at the end of 2014, I said, you know what, we're going to do this 5K, even though we hadn't done any logistical work on this thing. And I'm going to take responsibility for this, putting the cart before the horse. So I put the flyer out, and it got a lot of reviews, you know, a lot of hits, and everybody was like, oh my God, this is going to be so amazing. But there was no logistical stuff done in, I think it was August, I put it out, and I said it was going to happen in September. And Joanne Fields, she could vouch for this, because I brought her into a meeting telling her all of these great ideas. And she said, well, when is it supposed to happen? In 3 months? Okay, well, what do you got done? And it was like nothing done. Mm-hmm. So she laughed at me, but being green, you know, being young in the game. So it didn't happen in 2014, but we kept going. And in 2015, we were able to have our first successful hip hop health and wellness 5K festival in San Diego.
That's
and
amazing.
The first year.
Okay.
No, please.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, that's amazing. And I appreciate it, because I know I can say for myself, I've gotten better, but it's like, I'm very analytical. And sometimes, I don't know if you ever heard the phrase, analysis paralysis. Sometimes you can overanalyze things so much that you don't do anything. So I actually respect the fact that you just jumped out there, you know, with your vision, with the passion behind the vision, you know, just to make sure it was moving, something was moving. So that's very respectable.
Thank you. You know, we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, a lot of sacrifice early on. You know, because it's, you know, being a visionary, you know, and not to pat ourselves on the back, you know, whatever, you know, but just being a visionary, it can be hard sometimes when there's nothing there but the vision. You know, you know, having to convince people and, you know, say, hey, this is going to happen, this is what it looks like, and da 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 da. But there's nothing there. But once we did the first one, I think the people's eyes started to open.
Right.
And yeah, they started to see what the potential could be. And that's how we started.
That's what's up. So I definitely want to hear a little bit more, but also, Brother Terrell, can you give us a little more, or your view on some of that background of the beginning stages, and even what motivated you to even get involved and to be a part of it?
Well, I like Dawood had mentioned, we had a very similar path at the time. I was very much so interested in health and wellness being something that should be shared in the communities, more specifically amongst males that, you know, from 18 to 80, really. Part of that was because I've had a long history of health experiences, and hip hop has been something that has always been part of my life. Very, very, very deeply involved with that particular genre and that culture. So the culture of hip hop is kind of more along the lines of what I was directed toward. And at the time, I was part of 100 Strong. I don't know if you're familiar with the organization, and being a part of that organization, part of what my focal point was obviously the hip hop and health and wellness, male health and wellness, and meeting with Dawood on that day. I met with him because, like I said, we'd known each other. We had mutual friends, but not really in person, really kind of chopping it up. And when I attended, I'm like, you know what, this is really, really kismet, because there's just so many things, not just the event, but just the energy of a brief conversation we had on that day, right? And so from the point in which he mentioned that he brought to light the conversation he had with his daughter, and I was like, yeah. At the time, I was actually in the process of trying to see what I could do about a triathlon, because being a Oceanside resident, I've seen that happen, but I never seen that. And I was like, how can we tie that? That's impossible to tie that in to the community we wanted to do it, because we're far from the ocean. But he had a lot of ideas that I could put my teeth into. I had some ideas that he could put his teeth into, and I really wanted to make sure that really happened, because ironically, 2014, March 20th of 2014. That's when I actually had renal cancer removed from my body. So in 2013, I was going through it. 2013, as we were talking about these, these plans and preparations, I was going through, preparation for surgery to remove cancer from my body, and so it really meant a lot to me.
Right.
It really resonated with me. So as you know, I was hoping that we actually did it in 2014, but it gave me a chance to recover for 2015.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's for me, it's the culture. But it was definitely about the health aspect of it, and we actually really at that time, it was a year of bonding in more ways than one,
Right.
and bouncing off. I've had I had up to that point, so many different ideas and thoughts and things, but no one to really share them with, because as
Right.
Doug said, as a visionary, if
I
people
get it.
can't really see what you're talking about, a lot of times we live in a show me era here. Once you show somebody that it's happening, then somebody really is kind of down with supporting. Other than that, like, hey, it's a good idea, brother. Good luck with that. But so yeah, it was like a Batman and Robin, yin and yang, East Coast, West Coast, young and
Right.
old. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the whole combination. However you look at it, that's up.
That's what's up. Well, another part, and this is my own personal view of being a visionary, is having that gift of discernment, right? And so when you're able to discern, and even it's even somewhat prophetic, right? Because you can see beyond, the right now. And so when you can, that vision, and when God gives you that vision and you can see it as though it's right in front of your face, that is a gift. And so I just want to commend you, brothers, for running with the gift. And I'm definitely going to talk about the culture, because we're saying culture, but I also am being transparent. Some of my listeners are from the collective, community, right? And so not familiar necessarily with the hip hop culture as well. So definitely want to talk about that. But before we do, Sister Deborah, if you're online, I definitely want to hear from you as the president and race director, and wanting to know like what inspired you to get involved, because I know health and wellness is really important to you as well. Well, if she is not with us right now, I'll come back to her. And now I want to kind of peel back the culture. So when we say the culture, I'm familiar with it, but I also want to say this to you all, is that I'm not necessarily sure exactly what year you was born, and I don't need to know that. But one thing that my son says about my generation, and I think we're roughly around the same generation, if not the same. He says, "Mommy, y'all like the Coolios. Y'all invented cool." He said,
Oh, I wouldn't think that.
I love it. Oh, I take it. And I see, because he sees like how the older
I'm an 80s baby.
generation, how would you say?
I'm an 80s baby.
You are? Okay, so,
Mhm.
okay, so you're younger than me, which is all good, right? So
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and throw it out there a little bit, So I was born in the 70s. So he
Okay.
says that we invented cool, how we embrace like hip hop. And really, hip hop it was either going to live or die, you know,
Mm,
with my generation. I mean, but we
mm,
just held on to it. We loved it. It was ours. It was our expression. It was, hearing Big Daddy Kane and,
you say
you know,
that.
Run DMC, like all of that. Like that
Mhm.
was just, part of our expression. And so, and there's like, so hip hop in itself, and I appreciate what you said, Terrell, as far as the culture, because rap is just one element of hip hop, right? It's like, go ahead, Daru. What was you gonna say?
Oh, I was just interjecting. I said rap is a part of hip hop culture.
Right. It's what, because it's like there's 9 elements of hip hop, right?
10 elements.
Oh, it's 10. Okay, well break them down
Yeah.
for us, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, the 10. Well, you know what? From 1 to 4, I got you. And the 10th element, I got you. From 5 to 9, I'm not too sure.
And that's all. That's all good. This is all family. So break
Yeah.
down at least whatever the elements you know, and whatever we collectively may know, we might be able to add into it. Because I can't. I should have prepped myself with the 9 elements, but I didn't. Just being transparent. right?
All good.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the basic elements of hip hop is MCing,
Mhm.
DJing, breakdancing, graffiti. That's the basic elements of hip hop. Then I think it's like street entrepreneurialism or entrepreneurialism. I think there is slang. I think there's fashion in
Yes,
there.
fashion is definitely one. That's seven. So we're doing
Missing,
good. What'd you
we
say?
missing, we missing a few. I don't know the
And
other
I can't
ones,
even call
but
it either.
I think the most important element that we are have made it to. Shout out to a brother named Keith Tucker
Okay.
out of Seattle, right? Terrell,
Hmm.
Yes.
Seattle. He's the founder of the tenth element of hip hop. This is the newest
Okay.
element of hip hop that we're in. So the founders of hip hop are saying that we're in a green age of hip hop now, coming out of the ice
Hmm.
age of hip hop. Now we're in a green age of hip hop. So the 10th element of hip hop is health and wellness.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
the irony of the fact that it was actually declared on Earth Day uh,
Yeah.
in
oh, you
in
know that.
2000 in
2015.
2014,
It was
right? So
14. Okay.
right,
Right when we
yeah,
started.
yeah, right. So that was just the kismet part of things. Now the break dance and rapping and graffiti and DJing are things that people automatically
DJing.
kind of are driven to, and then beatboxing is the
Oh,
fifth
that
element,
was another one.
which that's I got
Boxing.
challenged on that earlier today from Dawood.
Yeah,
And now
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so people aren't familiar with the fact that once we started to get a platform and with the street fashion, with the crawl canais and cross,
Mhm.
things like that, and then
Yeah.
the seventh one being the street language, because there's a way in which we communicate with one another,
Mm,
and obviously with the street knowledge, because there's
mm,
something about our understanding of the way the world is that's just always a little bit different,
Mhm.
collectively,
mm,
and then
mm.
in the street entrepreneurism, because a lot of times we've seen the people kind of grow, and now we have Diddy, we got Jay-Z, we
Yeah,
have those that are really
yeah.
have taken things and really kind of magnify things to the next level, and then the 10th being obviously the health and
Helping.
wellness.
So,
Yes,
I mean, so you're talking about just touching a soft spot with me, that you saying that the 10th element being health and wellness was declared in April, which where we celebrate Earth Day, so of
right,
course, and it's the green age, right? So the
right,
sustainability, sun, sustainable urban network,
Exactly.
right?
right,
Exactly. No,
right,
it's the time. It's the time for that, and I think it's just such a. So kind of to go back to what you were saying, you brought God into it. It's so I always try to give praise to the Most High. Whatever you call, your creator or the
Right,
creator, because inspiration comes from God. You know what I
right,
mean? And a lot of times, I was having this conversation with Terrell. A lot of times, people will have the same ideas around the same time, you know what I mean? Because the inspiration is coming down or coming from throughout,
right.
from the source of all inspiration. So it's very important that we give the praise back to the creator.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. So I know there is some, just really quick, let's kind of talk about well, you gave us the history, right? And the motivation to start. And I think that I mean, you did a really great media, I think it was a media press some years ago, maybe relatively recently, from San Diego Voyage, who really kind of gave some good background
Yeah.
on, yeah, on what inspired you. So can you explain to some people, and I was hoping that Sister Deborah was online with us. I'm not sure if she was. Uh, how long is a 5K, right? So, I mean, in all being just transparent, I used to run track, but I wasn't running distance. I did run the mile relay, right? But distance wasn't necessarily my thing. And sometimes running distance, except for conditioning, and I haven't done that in, a couple of decades. And anyhow, that's another discussion. So if I want to get prepared for and participate with San Diego Hip Hop 5K, first of all, for me and maybe some other listeners that may not even know, what is the distance of 5K? Can you share that with us?
The distance is for a 5K, which is 5 kilometers. It's 3.2 miles.
Okay, see, and I thought it was 3.1. So this is a little bit more. So that means I got to condition just a little bit more. No,
Yeah, maybe you.
no, I'm
Maybe
just messing with
3.2.
you. Okay.
Nobody tripping off of the .1.
Right. So now,
But
um,
no, it's very short. It's not long at all.
okay. And so can you share what, I guess, does everyone who shows up for 5K, are they in that position to run, or are there some people that do a combination that you may walk, you may run, you may just walk? What level of participation are you seeing for those that participate with Hip Hop 5K, or for those that may want to for the first time?
You want
Yeah,
to answer that?
sure. I mean, it's an event for everyone, really.
Hmm.
Obviously, the run community, we like for the run community to enjoy their sport, to enjoy their activity.
Mm,
But there's also a space, and there always will be a space for those that's not their wheelhouse. I don't really care how you get around there. You can skate, you can skip, you can march. You know, what I'm saying? I don't care. You can be wheeled. It doesn't matter. Just the premise of it is get out, get a breath of fresh air, get
mm,
some movement in your body. And
mm,
I think that one of the monikers we had probably the first year was respecting is an opportunity for us to respect our elders, protect our babies, and give them a place to play. And we're having
mm,
a healthy dialogue
mm,
amongst our peers. Those that are in between those elderly age and the toddlers. And that's really what it's about: getting out as a community, getting out and just like I said, getting a breath of fresh air and getting some movement in your body. If you don't, the first year, I had a teammate that really almost didn't even finish. She could barely finish. She tried hard. It's just getting out there. You're not in a competition with anyone except for yourself if you
mm.
feel like you want to compete against yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a
Well,
great
now that
metaphor for it.
Okay, so it looked like let me ask Sister Deborah, if you're on with us, I want to ask you to. Oh, great, oh shoot, I thought you unmuted yourself. I think we both was trying. um, See if you can unmute yourself, and then we
That was
can.
very well put, right?
Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah.
You're welcome.
So now what I wanted to ask you, Deborah, is how can someone maybe even prepare themselves for a race or for the 5K marathon? Okay, Deborah, we can't hear you right now. So Terrell, he's going to jump in now.
I'm not going to jump in. That's Deborah's warehouse,
Right.
and like I said, we have one of the finest teams that I think that I've ever been around in my entire life, and
The
she
fly
happens
is
to be
what?
finest teams.
Oh,
A
team.
group of people
He's up talking.
that I've been around in my entire life. She happens to be the lead of our organization. But if you don't mind, one thing I'm trying to get people to understand, it is a 5K. So when you say marathon, that is something we'd like to be toward, but we're not quite a marathon yet.
The
Uh,
marathon is 20, was it 26 miles,
yeah,
right?
right.
And then,
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
26.
So yeah, so
okay,
that's all
we
right.
just yeah, we just want to. I'm I'm a stickler for trying to make sure that everything is everything's everything, and everything's pretty as accurate as possible. But I can see Deborah is on the line now, so I'll let I'll pass the
yeah,
opportunity to her.
yeah. So
Yeah,
Sid, so I appreciate you breaking down the difference of. Oh no, my question was about conditioning. What would you suggest for me and listeners and other folks, what they should do
oh, even what?
to prepare for the 5K?
So can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, perfect. So some of us are not runners, and so just like how it was mentioned earlier, if you're just a walker or you want to skate, use your skates, because we did have skaters out there last year. Um, we do have the Black girls that do bikes that they're going to be the court marshals, but if you want to bring your bike, that's fine too. But to get started, you want to just do a half a mile maybe for the first week. Then the next week, do 1 mile, and then just keep increasing by halves until you reach your 3.2.
Okay.
And so that's the best way to do that.
Okay. So now, I'm going to use myself as an example.
Hmm. Yes.
Because I've always said that I did want to do at least like a half a marathon, and this is like I think the 5K will be leading up to even a half a marathon because now we got it clear that it's not a marathon, right? So,
Right.
Mhm.
marathons can
Right.
be intimidating, even for people who used to
Very
run
much.
back in the
Yes.
day. So I can do, those like on a treadmill, but what else could I maybe do in conditioning and prepare myself beyond, walking or running for 3 miles? Is there anything else you would recommend in that preparation?
Cardio, at least 15 minutes of cardio a day,
Okay.
at least 5 days a week, at least 15 minutes. It's really recommended that you do at least 30, but
Okay.
start low. You never want to start off, going straight in all hard, because that's when you're going to become more discouraged. And then also, if you have any health conditions, you want to make sure that you cleared everything up with your doctor as well.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm not sure who's best to answer this. So, if someone wants to register, is there already a registration open? Or even before we get to the registration, let's talk about when will this year's San Diego Hip Hop 5K take place and where?
So
Deborah.
the race will take place at the Jackie Robinson YMCA, and that will be on October the 23rd, which is a Sunday. The registration is already open. You can register at the race that morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, or just do it online. And all you have to do is go to sdhiphop5k.com, and on the website you can register there to be a participant. And for those that want to be a vendor or want to be a sponsor or even a performer, because after the 5K, we do have a festival. So we will have a full on stage where we'll have performers also. So there's going to be, like little young dance groups. There's going to probably be a couple of rappers. Some people, last year we had someone that played the saxophone and she was awesome. We had a band, solo singers. We've had violinists. We've had poetry readers. So it's going to be a nice little fun community event, and we will have vendors out there. So hopefully, also, we're also hoping to do like a boot camp out there. So for those that feel like after they've done their 3 miles and they feel like they need a little something extra, we'll have that boot camp out there too. And yoga. We're adding yoga this year. So those that want to do a little bit extra stretching once they're done running, we got you.
Oh, I love that. I love yoga. So, if I may just dig a little deeper on what you just said, because
Hmm.
I don't know what the boot camp means.
Okay.
And some of my listeners may not either. So, can you kind of just break down and share with us what that boot camp actually is? When you say
Well,
after,
I'm gonna let Dawu break down the boot camp that was there last year.
okay, right on.
Okay. It's basically like an obstacle course.
Okay,
It's NXPT Fitness.
Yes.
And they come out and they have different obstacle courses like a sled thing that you can push, those hurdle things that you jump over. I'm sorry, I don't know the technical names for them.
me neither. Use a big
Tire,
word. Yeah.
Yeah, the tire pushes, the tire pulls,
Oh,
jump rope,
the rope thing, the big thick ropes. So
okay.
just some nice
battle
fun
ropes.
things. Yeah, just some nice fun things. The little boxes that you jump on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Box
fun things to
jumpers.
keep moving.
So this is like for those that was already kind of like pumped up. So for that
Well,
3.2 miles kind of got you pumped up, then you have another place where you can kind of just excurt your energy. Just put more of
yeah,
your
so the starting line is at the YMCA. We
okay.
do our warm up there at the YMCA, and then we run through the community. And then when we come back, we go back to the YMCA, and that's where the health festival will be, and that's also where the obstacle course will be.
That is
Right.
awesome. I am so excited. And I mean, seeing the pictures and the media coverage or there's just so many people that's just, I mean, because running and walking well, let me just finish my statement. You can see the smiles on their face, the joy that it
Right.
brings. You know what I'm
Right.
Yeah,
saying? And
yeah,
I know for me personally, even walking is just like a decompressor.
yes,
Just,
Right.
after you do it for so long, or whether it's stress or if you're upset or whatever, if I walk, boom, 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 then it's just, whew, it's just a really healthy, natural decompressor.
You
And
know, that opens up the conversation for mental health as well.
yes,
You know,
yes,
so the health and wellness is not just physical health. You
right,
know, it's total wellness. And you know, right now, you're in the world, you know, we're combating a lot of mental health with people. And in the Black and brown communities, mental health has been stigmatized for a long time. You know, it's just now where it's kind of coming into like popular culture, where it's cool to go to therapy, or it's cool
right.
to talk about your mental health. You know, so running and walking and just moving in general, eating right, it all adds to a better mental health.
Yes. No, I so appreciate you saying that. And like I said, I know that that's just one of my personal decompressors that I've just done just about my whole life. If I'm, whether, walking on the beach or in the neighborhood or whatever, and then by the time, I get back, then, just more chill.
Yeah, no. It
Not
Right,
as,
releases
right.
endorphins.
right. It does.
Exactly.
And mentioning the endorphins is I remember the first time I ever experienced quote unquote that runner's high, because there is such a thing,
Yeah.
is it
Yes.
was in high school when I was challenged by my coach to run the open quarter. Running a mile relays is different. That energy when you're on a team, getting a baton, just for me personally, and I think others too, it just felt different than when you just out there by yourself and you got to stay in the same lane. That's just a totally
Mm,
different race. But the first time I did that, and I ended up making it to Lower State when I was in high school on that race, I got a runner's high you
mm,
know so yeah, so that it definitely is real. It's like you really, like you said, endorphins are just,
yeah, man.
yeah, are released.
I'm not a huge
Right.
runner. I'm not a huge runner, but I like to jog from time to time. And I
Uh-huh.
think I've hit a runner's high. I think I've hit
Hmm.
it. There was
Hmm.
a time I was just running around Choice. You know, I can't remember how many times I was around, but I was trying to keep a nice steady pace. And I'm a big guy,
Hmm.
but it was a time where I just wanted to stop. I wanted to stop, but I pushed through. And next thing you
Hmm.
know, bang, it was just like a
Hmm.
whole new energy that I
Hmm.
got. And I was like, oh,
Hmm.
oh snap! I think I'm in
No, no,
that
you
running
good.
time right now.
You good.
You called. I was about to. Yeah. So yeah, it's
Okay.
a
So now, real quick, I want to kind of go back to a little bit more of the logistics. And Sister Deborah, since we have you online as well, or whoever is going to
Uh-huh.
answer it, but I'm going to direct it to you. Is you mentioned the registration is there, as well as if someone wants to be a vendor and a sponsor. Can you tell us how much the registration is for those that want to register for this?
Right now, I believe the I have to remember.
that's
I
35 right
believe
now. I think.
Early bird 35.
Is it
Yeah.
35?
yes, early
Okay.
bird is 35 to register for the race.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to stay there because you guys mentioned early bird. So
Yes.
early bird means like now in August, you think about you want to do this in October. And
Right.
so to go ahead and get yourself pumped up, I'm using myself as a case study.
Okay.
So to go ahead and get myself pumped up and some of my listeners and folks that want to do this, early bird is going to go from now, to how long to pay that 35?
Now until the end of August,
Okay.
and then the prices are going to increase.
So I better get my act together now. Make that commitment now. So that's what we want to
No,
encourage
Yes.
you
folks
got
to
you
do.
got to get your team
Right.
son.
Get you a
Somebody you got
team.
to get your team
Yeah.
going
Okay, so hold on, Dawo. You talking about some team son, and I think Terrell mentioned a team too. Talk to me when you said, because again, I've never done this before, y'all. So I need to do it. I know all the signs are saying, Sonya, get more serious about my exercise. I'm trying. I've been doing it, but I need to do it more than what I'm doing. So how
I
many
think it's
people? Go ahead.
I think you're putting too much on the exercise, the physical exercise part. And I don't know if you actually understanding the fact that just being in an environment, for some people, just being in an environment where you have so many faces, that some familiar, some unfamiliar, and all kind of rallying around for the same general purpose. And
Yes.
it's not necessarily physical health. I mean, it's just much about the vitamin D
Mhm.
that you're getting out there by getting out in the sun. It's just as much about the energy that you get from the music,
Mhm.
the vibration of there's a lot of good energy out there that you those endorphins are also kind of affected by or impacted by that energy that's created when we all assemble. And one of the things that Dawood and I spoke about also in the first year is going back to the hip hop thing, where you can have a show, like you say, your son, he goes to shows and you go inside, and you kind of have a capacity of maybe 300, 350 at the max in most places in San Diego, right? But then if you have a space outdoors that we do, you really have a capacity of having we can have 5 to 10,000 people in an area and really have a great time amongst one another. So it's just a completely, it's like the holistic experience that Douglas spoke about. It's more than just like I think I mentioned to you earlier. It's more than just hip hop. It's more than just a run. It's more. It's a family event. It's more than just San Diego.
It's
It
a
just happens to be,
community
it just happens
engagement,
to be
right?
born from San Diego, right? It's all of
Yeah.
that. It's pulling your the people that are close to you, saying, "Hey, come on out. Let's just have a fun day together," and giving you that vessel to do so. And being amongst other groups of individuals that are just out there to enjoy that beautiful day together.
Yeah.
That's kind of
It's community, right? And I mean, I
right.
think at the most, that's just how I'm seeing it, like in a positive way, a healthy, positive way for enhancement, to scale up our neighborhoods. That's what S.U.N is all about too. So back to the team though, how many people is defined by a team? A team is defined
More
by,
than one,
huh?
more than one, or
You
they
got
could
it.
be a
Come
team
on
of
now.
one.
Five or more.
You want to be 5 or more? Dang, I was hoping
Yeah,
to see
Come
3.
on now. Come with it.
yeah. But to be disqualified for a
You
team,
hip hop, but you got to come with it.
Yeah, come on now. You got to show up.
I
right?
know, but I mean, getting 5 folks willing to be somewhere at 6 in the morning, so that means you got to probably be there before. That's
Well,
a
it's
lot of
that's
commitment.
so the 6 o'clock is more for people that didn't register online. So that's like the last minute registers. So they could come anywhere between six to 6:50. And
Hmm.
then around 7 o'clock, it's gonna have to be the cutoff because we do have to get the program started by 7:15. We need to be out there on the road, getting the run started, getting it in because due to the MTS buses and plus
Hmm.
we have to realize we are right by the 805 freeway
Right.
entrance. So out of respect of traffic, we just want to make
Safety.
sure that we respect that. So um 7 o'clock is not too bad to be up early, Just have to be like you
Hmm.
Not
going to
too
work.
bad
That's all.
Well,
either.
no, Deborah, you're right, but it's different if I was just living down the road like I was. But
Oh
y'all know
yeah,
In
that's
I'm
North
up
right.
here
You're
in
County.
not
that.
that
Well,
far away. I forgot.
you know what,
But I'm just
sister?
saying,
You know
we have
what,
the
sis?
North County contingent that comes down,
Yeah.
and we're definitely going to make concessions for that. Really, it's more than just I come down, right?
Well, I know you do. That's how I
Yeah,
met you down.
right,
I was living down
right,
there at the time, though. Yeah.
right.
Nah,
So
sis, look.
yeah,
So okay, so if you can't get 5 people to come down, what you can do is definitely come down yourself, maybe bring your son
Right.
and sponsor 3 other people. And we'll put 3 people on your team for you.
Hmm. That's a possibility, but I'm also considering being a vendor. Well, not a vendor. Well, yeah, but I don't have nothing to sell, so I don't know if that would be a sponsor. So,
no,
Deborah, or somebody
Yes.
break down the difference between being a vendor and a sponsor.
Well, like,
then
yeah, the sponsor pretty much is that you're giving like a monetary donation, and some of
Mm-hmm.
them are in kind also because I know there's one of the internet radio shows that wanted to come out and cover the race, and so that's like just the in kind. So it's like it's they're providing the service and we're providing the space.
Okay.
So it just depends on how you want to, what you like to do, in kind, donation, monetary. It's up to you.
Okay. And then being a
Mhm.
vendor is someone that you want to just have your organization there, whether you're selling something or not.
Yes,
yeah,
so some of them are going to be resources. Like we have the Lupus Foundation, and they're going to be out there and they're going to be talking to folks about, you know, where they could go to go to sponsor groups and things like that. So we're going to have resources, and then you'll have someone that's over here that's selling, natural fruit juices.
Right.
So it'll be definitely a mixture.
Okay.
It's
All
just
right.
it's a difference in participation. The 10 by 10 space that you have to either provide information or your wares is a vendorship. The sponsorship is supply providing something, whether it be, as Deborah said, uh, something that's of value, um, or something monetary,
Mhm.
And
that would benefit the
and that's
community.
right. And that's all well and good, but I have to touch on this and for anyone who's listening before the run, that's considering about coming out in any capacity, be a vendor or a runner, we really want people to come out and run and walk with us this year. Our goal is to get that. For me, it's 1,000 people. I've heard a
That's
bigger
what's
number,
up.
but okay, you know, hey,
So
five
wait,
is
hold
big.
on, hold on. Let me. Did you say a
I
thousand?
said
Dawood and
I
Terrell
said
said
Yeah.
500.
10,000.
No,
I
I
said
said
10.
5,000.
So
I
we got,
want
so for
5,000.
me, a
You want
thousand,
five?
Mr. Terrell, 5, Deborah, she's saying 10. We just want as
Yeah.
many people to come out as possible. You know,
Okay,
I want to break that 1,000 person mark this year. And so
that's
that's
what's
why
up.
we need you, Miss Sonja, to come out and bring your 5 people with you.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. And
Yes,
And
ma'am.
tell your son.
oh, he's coming. Y'all know that. Matter of fact, this is right around his birthday. He wants to go. He's never been to New York, so his birthday is on the 27th. So this is right, which it works because this happens right before we heading out to the NYC.
All
So
right.
Right.
okay. So now let's see. I'm hyped now, and this is what I'm glad. I mean, I want y'all to talk. Tell me a little bit more about the history, what took place last year, what took place even like before COVID. Because like I said, I know my son participated as a volunteer. Oh, do you guys need volunteers? That's, I
Uh,
mean, I would think you
Always.
probably do.
Always.
Okay.
Always. We always need volunteers. We always welcome participation. We always accept monetary, sponsorship. We always want registrations. We always want the community to come out and enjoy their time. We always want to push forward and grow. And really, that anything you could think of as far as an ask, uh,
Yes.
yes.
So if
Oh,
if they go online to the Run website, you're going to see that there is a volunteer page created, and on there there's a list about 10 different type of positions that we are looking to fulfill. So you have first aid, you have the cheering squad, you have the water stations, you have someone that's going to be working with the volunteers, working with the vendors. We need runners. So there's something for everybody there. So there's all they have to do is just go and sign up, and then we have someone that's going to be looking over the volunteers, and soon we're going to be creating a volunteer meeting. And so we're welcome all the volunteers to come out, no matter at what capacity you're coming out in, even
okay.
parking lot attendants. So we look for, because it's with the volunteers is what makes it easier for the race to run smoothly.
Right.
So we can't do it without them. So we
Okay.
do need volunteers and
So
sponsors.
I'm a part of San Diego Green New Deal. I've been on their steering committee for a few years. I'll definitely put this in there too. I can start putting it in there. If you guys have a flyer, do you have a flyer yet, or is that to be announced? Or
Yeah,
look,
we do.
Terrell.
Yeah, this one out.
So Terrell,
No, we have a flyer.
okay.
Yeah.
So give me the flyer, whether whoever, right? You guys have
Yeah.
my contact information. Then I can start putting it out for people to be willing to either participate. All the things we mentioned: volunteering,
Here's,
sponsoring, vendor, running.
here's what I'm gonna
Right.
ask of you. Like, we're both in North County, I'm gonna push from the North County to Metro San Diego, and if you want to join that push, um, you're welcome. Like, I'm really
Absolutely.
inviting everyone. We're really,
Yes.
there's absolutely no reason why there's so many different organizations that they come together for one reason. They can actually come together for this reason, and it's not like I'm not asking them to do it for me. I mean, inviting them to do it for them.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying is I'm joining you, Terrell. We work
Awesome.
together on different community events, engagement. You guys got me hyped about it. So now in my head, I got to be ready and prepared to actually participate. I'm going to participate in more than one way. So I'm actually going to be Nikes on the ground, not boots on the ground, but Nikes on the ground.
New Balance on the ground.
Yeah, New Balance or Adidas or something.
No, baby, I always running Nikes, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, but the three stripes
just
is
do
what's
it.
up.
Ground.
What'd you say? Deborah, did you say something? Or
No, I just said Nike's on the ground. Okay.
that's it. So I'm participating. I'm going to have my son team. We'll also, and then Deborah, I'll work with you as far as being a vendor there, and
Right.
and I'm also going to work on how we can get people to volunteer support this event because
Absolutely.
yes, I'm loving it. Okay, so who wants to share some of the background? I would think maybe some of the founders. Which one of y'all want to?
What part of the background?
Well, just tell us. I mean, I'm excited about it, but I want to hear what took place last year, and how did the event happen even before COVID?
I think this is a good time to shout out the rest of the team, the Hip Hop Health and Wellness 5K, 2015 was our inaugural year. 2016, we had another run. 2017, we sat out. At the end of 2017, we reached out. Well, Terrell could tell you this part better than I can, but a brother came on to the board, or onto the team at the time. There was no board, named Big Reese, and with him, he brought in a brother called Nova Street, and with those two, we ended up forming the nonprofit that we have now, the Hip Hop Health and Wellness nonprofit. So 2018, we had a really successful year. 2019, we had another successful run. 2020, when the pandemic hit, we had to refocus, obviously, because no one was outside. So we did something virtual.
Yeah,
which was really good. We did a 30 days of movement challenge.
Yes, that was awesome.
We challenged people to move for 30 days. It was the last 30 days of the year in 2020.
And then virtual is always an option.
Virtual is always an option.
I like that.
For sure. And then 2021, we had another successful year. It was really good. What really impressed me about it is we weren't sure if we were going to have it last year. And we released a flyer like maybe 3 weeks out from the event day. And then we ended up with maybe like 500 people, I think.
Wow. They were ready. They was like ready for it, especially coming off of the pandemic, wanted to feel the love of community. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So that's why, Dawood, you said we got to at least double that number.
Yes. It's all, 1,000 people. I think that's a great goal for me. I see you, Rat.
Yeah, 1,000 people, because we've pretty much been isolated primarily into one corner of San Diego County.
Yeah.
And although it's my birthplace, I'm a native of what's considered southeastern or southeast San Diego. I think that it being born from southeast San Diego or born from San Diego is awesome. But we have it's a huge county. It's a sizable county. I think that we were talking about populations earlier, where Chula Vista has a population, Oceanside has a population, and there's other cities. And I'm not saying that is anything that's a negative at all. It's just the fact that to the 1,000, I'm thinking that's an awesome goal. But I think that if we really were to, me, Sonja, speak about North County, and then we have those 1,000 people in San Diego, and then we have another 1,000 from the East County, and we have another 1,000.
Right, we can do it, bro.
It's very doable.
That's my goal. I'm like, shoot for the stars, and land on the cloud.
Okay, so
I think San Diego. No, I think San Diego is statistically is the run capital of at least the United States, I believe.
You said
if
run.
Not the world.
What do you mean run capital?
We have a lot of runs here.
Oh, runners. Got it.
Per year. Yeah, because the weather is just perfect all year.
I can see that. Now, another fact about San Diego County, as we're wrapping up, to reinforce what you were saying, Terrell, and to make light of what you were saying also, Dawood, is San Diego County. The county of San Diego is the second largest county in the state of California, behind Los Angeles, with
Right.
California being the most populated state in the nation. So our county is the second largest county in the state, you know. So I'm with trying to get these numbers. I'm excited, even in being able to share information and resources on environmental justice, on, you know, our energy, our energy justice.
Right on time.
With the community. So I want to give you guys, whoever want to give like the last 30 seconds, last minute spiel of getting San Diego Hip Hop 5K for this year, information to our listeners.
sdhiphop5k.com. Go there to register, sign up for volunteer, for vendor, for sponsorships. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you out there on the day, your smiling and beautiful faces as we continue this this marathon, so to speak.
That's what Nipsey Hussle said, huh? All right,
the marathon continues, yo.
Yeah,
well,
so,
the 5K.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a rock and roll marathon was born out of San Diego too, right?
100%.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
thank you for that. Thanks for those facts as well, Terrell. And you guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Wrap this up for today, and want to thank you all for joining us on Sustainable Urban Network. And
thank you for tuning in to S.U.N Sustainable Urban Network.
And we'll see you guys
Check
later.
us out on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Let's scale up our neighborhoods, y'all.
All right. Thank you all.
All right.